Welcome back, Andy. Sorry for the delay. Item 127, this is to discuss and decide whether to pay the clerk for the overtime worked in November, 18 hours at 15.37. Now, this is part of a long running cycle that clerk's hours are more than 10 hours employed for. Is there any particular reason why November was particularly bad, Nicola?
I did put details in the supporting documents for you there. So there was 3 committee meetings in November. Obviously, that took a lot of time. I spent some time reviewing the video and the minutes as requested. And I've also started going through the filing cabinets and shredding some of the old paperwork. And as you can see, some of it's fairly ancient.
I remember now, yes, because there's all that shredding. So that's the reason for the particular overtime listing. I mean, it's something we will need to discuss about the overtime later on, but this is the existing the basis. So are we happy? I mean, I'm happy to propose that we pay that that extra overtime of 276.66. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Are you questioning, Heather, or are you seconding? Seconding. Okay, so it's proposed by me, seconded by Heather. All in favour? All those in favour? Raise your hands. Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. That's super.
Can I just ask a question there?
Yeah.
Given this is a kind of perennial issue in terms of hours, are there some actions that other people can take, other parish councillors, or is there another way to do this so that
not at the moment? No, we'll need to discuss why the overtime is why it is, but we can't discuss it at this particular moment. Something perhaps to bear in mind, or how the council works.
Can we get it onto the next agenda, please?
If you could send me the motion, send me the wording of the motion.
That tells how the council works. Okay, item 128. Oh yes, discuss and decide whether to use hiltonparishcouncil.com addresses for parish council business and to approve the serving of summons to Hilton Parish Council email addresses. Now, we're not too sure whether we've ever actually agreed that we can be summoned by emails, because previously it was all done by letters. So there's 2 actions there. One is to approve the fact that we can be summoned by email. The second one is that we should be using our Hilton Parish Council addresses. Now, we did start off doing that, and it kind of lapsed. Number one fault here, and there are various reasons given to us in the supporting documents as to why this is a good idea, why it's required. In fact, really, does anyone have an issue with that? Is it a problem? Anne?
I'm just slightly perplexed with all the commentary about privacy of information and GDPR and so on, but the data, the bulk of the data, if not indeed all of it, is held by the clerk. The only correspondence between us, I would have thought, is stuff that could be in the public domain anyway. So I can't really understand why I have to have a separate email address. I don't see the added benefit for anybody, and it is added hassle. Yeah,
I think it's sort of it's freedom of information request. So if someone wanted to check, what had been going on, then they'd have to have access into your personal account, your personal email account.
They could see copies of any emails I wrote on any subject to do with the parish council. They won't need to access everything else.
But whether...
Can I ask for an example, Graham?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
When you were recruiting me as clerk, and there were more than one candidate, did you receive copies of our CV?
Yeah.
Your private email address?
Yep.
So that's private information that you shouldn't have in a personal email address. That should have gone to a council email address.
So as long as I delete that email, then it shouldn't matter.
That's just one example. Yeah, and it's also council business are now hosted. I mean, is it the recommendation that we do this? Is it a NAUC rec, Nicola?
Yeah, I've given you the CAPALC document that's based on the legislation. I've given you the ICO's take on it. Every training course that we go on with CAPALC, they bang this drum about private email addresses and the fact that we should be using council-specific email addresses. Your access to Dropbox should be through your council-specific email address, so that Once you cease to be a councillor, you cease to have access to council information.
Okay. Peter, you're there.
I was just asking, so if we set up an email address specifically just for parish council business, which the Gmail account I use was set up for that purpose because there was no parish council addresses around at that time, we can't use that anymore, you're saying?
No, ideally it should be controlled by the council. The council and as a legal entity and the councillor are joint data controllers. The council has to be able to prove that its data control is robust and fit for purpose. And it needs to be able to prove that it can control the data that it sends out by email. The best way to do that, the best practice, is to have council specific email addresses, which is what you now have on the new web hosted emails.
Thank you.
Okay.
Fine by me.
I mean, it's as a green person here when it comes to IT, I can't really comment about what the problems are. But you know, I mean, it's all of it's a bit of a maze to me. Does anyone sort of have any other issues? I mean, I know what Anne's views are on it, but
well, unfortunately, I've been unable to access my parish council email address for about 3 weeks. I don't know where the hiccup lies. I probably should have said something before now, actually.
Yeah, I think mine's gone quite quiet as well. Oh, it's probably to do with the change of the.
I just can't get into it.
If you send me the details, I'll look into it for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heather, fire away.
I use the new parish council email address. I had some hiccups. Nicholas sorted them out. It's been very straightforward and very easy. And for the first time, I've got it on my phone as well, which is great. As an ICO person, when I was working, this was an absolute minefield. And what Nicholas is proposing is absolutely right. And we all need to do it.
Well, there you are. Okay.
Can I just ask what nature of mail is it? I mean, if I'm not
anything that you get as a parish councillor and anything you send as a parish councillor.
No, that's not what I mean. I don't use Microsoft Office, full stop. So if it's an email address that depends on Microsoft Office,
It doesn't.
Okay, thank you.
You can log in through your web browser, whichever web browser you choose to use. You can log in through there. You don't even have to load it into your email program. You can simply use it through the web browser if you prefer.
All right, thank you.
See, I'm lost already. Okay, so based on that, it's all going to be quiet. Can we? I'll propose that we do use the Hilton Parish Council email addresses for councillors. That's the proposal. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Oh, Heather seconding it. All in favour? Are we all in favour? Okay, so that's okay. You got there's the 7 of us. Yeah. Abstaining? Against? Sorry, are you abstaining or against, Anne?
I'm abstaining.
Abstaining. Okay. So have you got that, Nicola?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Right. So moving on. Right.
Sorry, Graham, could I just have a resolution on the summons specifically, please?
Yes, sorry. I did say it was a two-part thing. Okay, so moving on, we now need to be summoned to parish council meetings by email. That's a proposal that it is, that we carry on doing what we're doing, but they will go to your Hilton Parish Council email addresses. That's the proposal. Can I have a seconder for that, please?
Sorry, does that mean solely the Hilton Parish Council email address?
Yes, I'll no longer send it to your personal email addresses.
The heck?
Sounds like you're going to have a Christmas talking to Nicola and Jason.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you shouldn't do this, but there's nothing to actually stop you from setting up a forward address that can go from your parish council and straight to your personal one. I know that negates the whole point of doing this, but it is possible.
Thank you.
I wouldn't advise it because it would breach several laws.
Yes.
Okay, so the proposal is we just use the Hilton Parish Council website, email addresses. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Seconding.
On that one.
Sorry, this is for summons. This is for summons. Proposal is that we do take summons by email. Thank you, Heather, for seconding that. All in favour, please.
Right. So it sounds like we have to do it this way.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 7. Anne, are you abstaining or are you?
Yep, abstaining.
Okay. Righto, that's good. Thank you much. So that's 7-1 again. Thank you very much. Right. Okay. Discuss So we're moving on to item 129. Discuss and decide upon changes to the format of the Spectrum article. Now, hopefully, have you all seen Spectrum this month?
Yeah.
Good. Oh,
Not
did
yet.
you not come yet, Ian? Or because mine
No,
was.
no. We're normally a bit behind this part of the world.
Oh, okay. Well, so I hope the majority have seen it. And you've had something in supporting documents,
Yeah.
basically for the reasons for keeping it as it is. I think that's fair to say. I don't know whether anyone's got any opinions on that. What they've seen in Spectrum this month, and what they saw in Dropbox, to do costs and things.
It does seem slightly bizarre that you can offer your information and it's 2 to 3 pages and it doesn't cost money. And as soon as you describe it as something else, it's got a fee against it. You know, I'd be tempted to just say, can we elaborate on what we describe? But it's just part of the report. It doesn't quite stack up for me, but I'd be prepared to do that.
I think, well, in the old days, we used to give a donation to Spectrum. We've sort of it's fallen off the end, and no one's chased us. And I think this is perhaps something to be mentioned in future. Sorry, Heather.
I didn't read it as a request for money at all. I just read it as a fact.
Yeah.
Well, I see. I beg your pardon, and maybe I misread it, but I guess it relates to Ian's point that does that suggest we should actually be donating anyway?
So I think that it's a Fenstanton and Hilton Spectrum. It's supported by advertisers, and we contribute an article in for it. And I think what we need to discuss is what the format of that article is.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I think there was a big hint there about the fact that Fenstanton do pay £1,500. Well, I know that we weren't being asked for money, but I think the point was being made that if we did it all the time, that maybe they would ask for money.
I think Fenstanton are in a different position to us with the amount of building they've had.
I was just going to say the same, actually. You know, Fenstanton have a lot of SIL money to spend, don't they? So actually, they're financially much better off to be able to make a large donation like that. So,
yeah. Okay.
Back to Heather's point, do we want to continue then to provide more of a description of what's going on, as well as the report from the meetings?
So my comment would be, when I've read articles published in this month, this is a bit of repetition, which is obvious because 2 different groups, Nicola did her bit of reporting the meeting. The group that wrote the article replicated some of that, which was a shame. And we could be much smarter about it. Yeah. I just think there may be a way of engaging more, and just Nicola's contribution could be augmented with photographs or whatever, but I don't want to make more work for Nicola. And we need to make sure that we're engaging in the presentations that we're putting into Spectrum.
Do you think that what we put in Spectrum as a dry report is not engaging? I mean, the facts are there. There might not be pictures. It might be a bit dry, but it's very factual.
I think sorry, Anne, when you compare it to Fenstanton's Parish Council, you know, news, which has got kind of like, you know, photos and colours, and this is in no way, you know, any disrespect to you, Nicola, because you've put everything absolutely concise, but I'm just wondering if that's a way to engage more with the parish, with the parishioners. Because they seem to have, well, they've got 4 pages of Fenstanton Parish news. So I just wonder whether that's something that we could help Nicola with, because I don't want Nicola to have to spend a lot of time designing, you know, an article, because believe me, I've done it for years with Feast Week, and it is a bit time consuming. So Hilton Parish Council, historically, the clerk has always just put down, you know, the points that we've discussed, and that's absolutely fine. But I'm just wondering whether we, as Heather suggested, could combine that and maybe, you know, work on that with the clerk.
How will you know if you're engaging better with the public? I mean, why do you think we're not engaging at the moment?
Because no one attends the meeting.
Yes, quite.
Might well be the fact. No, I'm not taking any questions, Andy. It might well be the fact that they get all the information from Spectrum. They may be happy. And if people don't join us on Zoom, which is very, very easy.
I don't think it's about engaging in that way. I think what we're trying to do is to put across a flavour of Hilton, the positive things that are going on in the village, the positive things that we are doing as a council. And if people want to have a full read of the minutes, they're available for people to read. What we're trying to do is to be much more upbeat about the work that we're doing.
Well, I can't agree with that, but still, hang on. Sorry, Rob, you're very quiet.
I missed what you said, Graham.
I said I don't agree with that, because there's some things that are coming up later in the meeting that were recorded in the dryness of the report, which give me confidence that parishioners know about it. These items weren't mentioned in the more upbeat report. Some people will just look at the minutes, look at the report, and that's how they get all the facts of the stuff that was discussed. If we're relying on the media group or whoever to take out the bits that they think are more glossy or interesting, we do then leave holes, and we can't have both articles going in.
Why not?
The whole point, where, as Nicola was saying, where the clerk is responsible for it, she is neutral. If you've argued passionately for something, you would have a job to write it in a neutral manner. Whereas if you're sitting on the sidelines taking the notes, it's much easier to write a neutral statement. So that's the reason why. Well, that's the recommendation. But others. Sorry, Kieran.
Yeah, I just want to make a point. I think it was the last meeting, or maybe the meeting before, where we were talking about how do we reduce the amount of work the clerk has to do. And this is just exactly the kind of thing that increases the work of the clerk.
Okay.
I thought we discussed last time that Heather's offering in terms of an article to put in Spectrum was good, and we should put it in and you know, see what the response is. Why are we not doing the same again? Why are we suddenly turning against that idea, which does seem to liven up what's going on in Hilton, and if you like, sell the good things, and rather than just report them?
Well, the motion, I think, was just for the one month. So we've got that month where we can see both articles. Clearly, we can't go on where we have the dry report and then we have the juicy bits next to it, because it looks like it's been written by two different people.
Well, we can, as long as we collaborate in such a way that when the clerk has done the report, the other stuff is dovetailed to support that, rather than repeat it, as is the instance this time.
It will take a bit longer, won't it? And there's more hours. I mean,
Well, whose hours? If parish councillors are prepared to do it, why not more hours?
I think that's a great idea, actually, because it would then take the onus off Nicola having to do more hours. And you know, if we can put something in like this, like Stanton have done, which is, as Anne said, dovetailed with the information that Nicola needs to put in an impartial way, and it, you know, so that there's some information, you know, and photos attached and things, then I just think that's a bit more readable. I think people will just be interested in it. I mean, they want, you know, vacancy for parish council, so they've kind of put adverts in, and plus actually they put about the Luton stacking, which Nicola's kindly done as well. But I just think, I'm not saying we have to copy them, but I just think we need to perhaps help Nicola to reduce some of her workload, and there are councillors offering to do this. So
who's offering?
Heather.
Right. Okay.
And
Peter,
yeah, Peter and Anne.
You're on mute, Peter.
Yeah, I'm happy to carry on doing what we did last month.
but then you'd have to pass it through Nicola to vet it, to neutralise it.
I think it needs to go the other way around, actually. We need to see what Nicola's putting in her report, and then if we need to flim it up a bit, then we flim it up a bit.
Augment.
Yeah.
But then
Nicola,
if we're doing two, we will end up with a bill from Spectrum. They might not ask at the moment, but they will ask for a bill. They will ask for some money.
Graham, we're not talking about doing two separate articles. We're talking about Nicola writing her summary and emailing it to the three councillors to then add in photos or augment it and then send it to Spectrum before the 14th.
Via Nicola.
Well done, Heather. Via Nicola. And if we don't think it needs augmenting, we won't augment it.
Very kind of you.
Exactly.
Can we propose that?
Yep.
If everyone's finished talking, have they finished? Yeah. Okay. So the proposal is that Nicola does her report, sends it to the three of you, which is Heather, Anne, and Peter, to augment it. Can we have
if necessary? If necessary.
Can we have a initial time limit for that? How many months we're going to do that?
Let's do it till the end of the year. Not this calendar year.
Financial year.
End of next year is far too far. I was thinking
Financial year.
Financial year.
3 months, yeah. So that would be through to April, wouldn't it? Okay. So that's the proposal.
Right, 1st of March is the end of the financial year.
Yeah. So
how many editions? It's actually 3
That
editions
would be
of Spectrum.
Yeah,
only 2 editions of
Thank you,
Spectrum.
Heather.
There's not going to be a
Editions, yeah.
January of Spectrum.
No.
So that'll only be February and March is Spectrum.
And just
And April. So 3 months of Spectrum.
Because we'll get the March meeting, won't we?
yeah.
You'll get this if it goes through, you'll get this meeting, February and March meetings. So that's a proposal.
Sorry, Graham. Do we have to put a 3-month limit trial on it? You know,
absolutely. Well, that's my proposal. I mean, if you can, we can always extend it if it works well.
Well, okay. I was thinking let's try it for the next 6 months just to relieve some of Nicola's workload.
If it works well, we can push it on. But I mean, at the moment, it's I think
let's
it's
just see how it goes.
Have to be watched carefully. Good. Okay, that's the proposal. Can I have a seconder, please? Okay, Sharon seconding it. All those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't count.
It's everybody.
No, it's not everybody.
Oh, sorry, it's not everybody.
So it's 7, and against is myself. Okay.
So who proposed that motion? I beg your pardon.
I proposed it. Can I propose it even though I don't vote on it? Even though I vote against it?
It's not ideal.
Okay.
I'll propose it.
You can propose it. I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
Right, and seconding it.
And seconding it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and all those in favour of the 3-month trial? That's just the 7, and then against is myself.
Right.
Can I just say one thing? Just Sharon, you said that we want to reduce Nicola's workload by doing this. It doesn't reduce Nicola's workload. She still has to write her report. This is additional to it.
Yes, it just doesn't add to it.
Yeah, it doesn't add to it, but it certainly doesn't reduce it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I would question whether I believe it will add to Nicola's workload, because she will quite rightly check through what we write and make sure that it is correct. So we are creating more work for Nicola.
It's certainly not saving the work.
That's what
Keep us moving, Graham.
It's a 3-month trial. You can
Move on.
Right, green and open spaces. Time for a rest. Item 131. Ian, is this your bag?
Yes, indeed. Here we go. Right. What seems like a wee while ago now, we had the 3 potential contractors nip round the village with us and give us our quotes. I've pulled these together, but you will notice that I've pulled them together in 2 spreadsheets. I am suggesting we go for what is the slightly higher cost suggested spend. What we've done there is to divide the work, total of just shy of £2,400 amongst the three contractors, all three of whom get a roughly equal amount of work. If you contrast that with the cheapest quote, then it is a difference. I think I did state somewhere what the difference was. 2, 3, 8. Well, it's £270 difference. But with that cheapest quote, we would be giving a very small amount of work to two of the contractors and a large amount to the third. What we have found is over the years that by going around with these contractors, talking things through with them, Kieran and I have learnt an awful lot about how we look after our trees, and we've gained an enormous amount of knowledge from those people. And I would like us to go for that slightly more expensive quote, because I think that will help us maintain the relationship with those three contractors. So that is my proposal, that we do go for that suggested spend.
Sorry, we're just losing you there, Ian.
Sorry?
You're fading in and out. I think we're getting 90% of what you're saying.
Oh, right, there's a problem.
I don't know whether it's your phone or other issues, but
no, it shouldn't be.
Again, just present that proposal about.
So the proposal is that we actually go for the spreadsheet that says suggested spend, which is £2,380, which comprises of using all three contractors to a similar degree. So they will have 850, 750 and £780 worth of work respectively.
Can I just, has that been changed from the spreadsheet I saw very early on? Because the spreadsheet I saw very early on was a huge difference for the middle guy.
Well,
quote B.
There's 2 pages on the spreadsheet, Graham.
There's two pages, Graham.
Thank you. Okay, carry on.
That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Okay.
So I say this maintains the relationship with these three fellas, which we found beneficial to all concerned, and it gets the work.
So if we took just the cheapest quote, we would be in danger of losing one of our tree surgeons, which we need to get the quote every year, and they've always been very good in their technical input.
Yep.
So Ian's proposing that we go this route in order to maintain all three in play.
Right. And Peter has a question.
2, Ian, if I may. When would the work be done? Would it be done within this financial year?
Yes.
And is it on top? Because I did look at the budgets and everything. In the budget so far to date, we have spent on green open spaces £1,110 against a budgeted 2,480 or proposed budget's projected spend. If we're spending 2,380, is that in addition to the 1,110? £1,110, making the actual spend for the year 3,500 roughly.
Need a bit of guidance from Nicola with this. The 1110 that we have already marked down there, is that the bill that came late from last year?
Yes, it is.
Fine, brilliant, thank you.
Okay.
So answer no.
So we are going to spend more, but part of that was last year's bill anyway, which was anticipated but not spent.
That's right.
So
He
to
was
speak.
late giving us an invoice.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Sounds good to me, Ian. Go for it.
So that was the proposal. Can I have a seconder, please?
Sorry.
Kieran was very quick there. Thank you, Kieran. So all those in favour, please.
Sorry, can I abstain because I can't actually find the
Oh,
I can't actually find it on my Dropbox, so I'll just abstain. Thank you.
okay. So
Okay.
that's
Colourful.
That was a 7. Did you get that, Nicola?
Yeah.
7-1. Yes.
7-1. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
so that was the first part. Last, where's that come from? The second part was proposed planting at the end of Rags Row. Let me just get the file. So there was a new version of this sent out this afternoon. Apologies for that late arrival. But I have altered some of the species slightly there. So what I'm trying to create there is a view from the road of the continuation of the line of trees that starts at the football field end. So the continuation of that line towards Rags Row. So you've got those tall species at the top and to the left. So the blue, the red and the other blue. So 2 blues are beech and the red is the oak. But then in addition, along Rags Row, I've got slightly smaller species there. So as you come out of the wilderness, you'll be faced with crabapple, a white beam, common field maple, and also a wild cherry or 2. So what I'm trying to create there is like you have in a classic English country garden, where you've got the tall species at the back and the smaller ones at the front. So that's the vision I'm trying to create along Rags Row. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
And again, it's a £600 spend, isn't it? Which you.
It's £600 spend. What I've done is looked at what we spent last year on tree work, and last year we spent just over £3,000. It's 3,030. Now, if you add this £600 to the 2,380 I spoke of just before, that brings it to just under 3,000, which is £50 short of what we spent on tree work.
Yeah. Okay.
Ian.
Yep.
Sorry. Have we considered the ongoing maintenance cost of the additional trees? Do we need to consider? Obviously, I'm guessing short term there's not going to be a huge impact. But I'm just thinking longer term. Not suggesting we shouldn't do it, but it'd be good to understand what we think the implications would be to the ongoing tree work and maintenance, because it is a substantial bill for the village.
Yeah, I mean, what's happened over the last dozen or so years that we've actually taken down quite a few trees. A lot of that's been thinning out and allowing others to grow on and become more what you call specimen trees. So we're sort of replacing those. So we shall end up with a similar number of trees to what we've already had. And so the maintenance cost should remain similar. What we're trying to do with a lot of these is that the spacing between them is a little bit wider than we've had in other plantations. So other plantations, such as the top end of the wilderness, as you're going on the track to Ellsworth, that was established some 20 years ago. That was quite dense. And also we've got the other small copse in the far corner of the wilderness where the travellers often go. And there, the distance between the species is a little bit less than I'm advocating we use here.
I'm all for planting, you know, some trees, but it seems to me a little bit excessive having 12 new trees planted. Plus there's a dog walker's path where those 3 trees are, the established trees. Sorry, I've only just opened it. I haven't looked at it before now, but I'm just a bit concerned that it's going to be a very, you know, I take your point in, it's going to be different size trees, but actually there is quite a well-worn path through there, which the dog walkers use and villagers use. And I'm just a bit concerned that that's going to be quite a dense area. So that part of the road leading into the wilderness won't really be visible from the field, will it?
Well, it should be. If you look at the scale that I've got there, then there's quite a distance between those, as I said, compared with the other plantations we've put in.
Yeah.
So there will be a tendency for in the short term to be a lot of room. As they establish, then I think it would be correct to remove some of the lower branches to allow the vista. And of course, I've really said that eventually I will be thinking of just the oak, the 2 beeches, the lime surviving, and the others will come out in perhaps 20, 25, 30 years' time.
And with all due respect, you know, some of us might not be either on the parish council or around. So I'm just sort of thinking, for a long-term solution, is it wise to plant, say, the beech and the white beams so close to the other established large trees when, you know, that could easily cover the pathway and the walkway? You know, a lot of people enjoy walking around the green because they can see the cricket pitch, they can see across the green, but that's going to completely obliterate the view, isn't it?
Shouldn't do.
No.
Say the whole idea is that we'll remove some of the lower branches to maintain the vista.
What we're proposing here is to just keep going the cycle that our forebears have been doing before us, and that is to plant, thin, view, keep things going, and then every now and then you have to lose a tree because it's died or there's disease. So it's keeping that cycle going.
But I'm not sure there's ever been that many trees in that area, has there?
No, quite. But I mean, there's other areas where we've got pathways going through trees.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do here. I mean, if you think of the pathway between the wilderness and the football field that goes over that small brow, I mean, that's got trees over the top of it. And that's what I'm proposing eventually we'll have here.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just a bit you know, as I suppose for a safety reason, you know, if I'm walking the dog on my own, I'd rather be away from tree cover so that I feel safe. So in the dark and things in the mornings. But I personally think it's too many trees to plant, but that's just my opinion. To plant an extra 12 trees there is quite a lot, I think.
Okay. Sorry, Heather, you were...
Yeah, there were 2 questions. One is, have we checked with the people who live along there that they're happy with this?
At this stage, I've only spoken with one.
Okay, so that would be a good thing to do.
Yeah.
And secondly, I think this will take us over this year's budget by all the spend we're talking about. Is that an issue for the council? Peter, you were asking about money earlier on.
No, I wasn't. Yeah, I was asking about money earlier on, if I'm not muted. But I've got no issues with this.
Okay.
Part.
Is it something we can put off till next year, in the next financial year? because if it seems to me, if we are going over budget, you know, we're spending parishioners' money here, and should we be doing that for, you know, when we haven't been gifted these trees, have we? We've we would have to go out and buy them. So, you know, I'm not sure. And also I agree with Heather's point. I think, you know, the neighbours and Monarch Farm maybe, you know, may not approve that, approve of it. And I know certainly Willie, when he was on the parish council, he was really pleased to get some of those large trees down because it obliterated his view over the green. So but it's just, I think if we're if we're overspent, is this a wise expenditure at the moment?
How much are we overspent?
Sorry, Kieran.
I think we were asking the same question now.
Yeah.
How much are we overspent?
I didn't think we were.
Well, I think we've got £3,080 in the budget for this year, and we've just given 2480 and 1100, so that makes 35. Then this is 600, so that's 41.
The 1001 was from last year, I believe. That's
It's in this year's budget.
It's in this year's finances because it missed the cut-off for last year.
So we underspent by that much last year.
That's a moot point, isn't it? Because we overspent last year on the playground. What you've got is actually £1,000, £1,300 off your estimate, because there is a budget of 2,400, so there's still 1,300 to be spent on trees, isn't there? So if you take your £2,400 for the tree work to be done, so that represents an additional £1,200, I think. Would that be right? And £600 on this plantation would be £1,800, of which on a budget that's forecast at 29,414 against an income of 32. So you've got enough room to put it in.
Fine. Thank you.
Right, thanks.
Okay. Right, thanks for discussion on there. So I'd like to put that proposal to the council, please, that we go ahead and plant this up. Obviously, it's the cost involved. I've priced these up and it's about £600. So proposal is that we buy these trees for that cost and plant them up sometime over the next couple of months. Could I have a seconder, please?
Can I just go back on something Rob said about ongoing maintenance costs? So there really isn't any, all this will be done by the volunteer group to plant them. I've got some water bags and things we can use to keep them well nourished. And so really it's going to be many years hence that they're going to need any tree work, and that will probably be somebody else's responsibility. And probably if they still have a volunteer group, they'll be doing the work. So I don't think there's any significant ongoing maintenance cost.
We're not going to espalier them or something, are we? You know.
Right, so there's that proposal put forward. Kieran, were you seconding it as well? Thank you. Could I have those in favour, please? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. And yourself.
And those against, please. Right.
Sharon,
one against.
Are you against or abstaining?
I'm
Sharon,
against.
Against. Sharon's against. Okay. So that's 7-1. Brilliant. Okay. Thank you.
Are we writing to the neighbours?
We shall consult the neighbours.
Thank you.
As I say, I've already been in contact with the principal neighbour involved, and we've had approval there.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Just one more item there. Point 3.
Yes, the Village Hall car park. You'll notice that Nicola's been very busy and received quotes, and there is the suggestion there that we go with that cost Oh, sorry, we've got, beg your pardon, I'm reading this incorrectly. We have got the 3 quotes. They do vary from approximately £140 to £190. My inclination is to look at the cheapest one. Does anybody have any comment otherwise?
Does the cheapest one also include some sort of accident waiver on the whacker? What size whacker does the cheaper one have?
Lightweight.
Lightweight.
Oh, is that good enough or not? What do you think? Who's the whacker expert?
I'm not an expert, but I think a lot of us have used them. And then the heavier the better, I'd say.
Right.
Okay. So that would immediately push it into a higher bracket, yeah?
Yes, it would.
Can I ask, are we bound to do this now? Having walked it several times lately, it doesn't look particularly bad to me, so I'm not convinced it needs doing at the minute.
It does puddle a bit when it's wet.
Yeah, very much so.
And I think it's one of those things, if you let cars go over, it'll get a lot worse and it'll be a...
Yeah.
Would it not be better to strike quick and get it done before it costs a huge amount?
I think it's
A stitch in time, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm.
Okay. I mean, if what Kieran was suggesting, the heavier the better, provided we can actually move it. Do we mind where the material comes from? The actual hardcore and gravel stuff. Do we mind where that comes from?
No.
Not really.
It would appear that dear old Mick George is the cheapest.
It would indeed.
Well, that's not quite true, is it? Wicks would be.
No, supplier A is the cheapest, isn't he?
Yes, he is because of the delivery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. So I mean that, and then we go for a whether we go for the medium whacker or whether we go for the. Oh, there's only a medium, isn't there? Yeah. So I think I would suggest we go for the medium, and I would suggest we go for a damage waiver.
Yeah.
Of £9. So that would be a total bill of the 44, 39, 72. Yeah, you can do the maths yourself, but that's what I would see as you're angling towards, Ian.
I'm trying to work out in my own mind just the total sum we are angling towards, actually.
Good. I'll take it on with you.
130 something, is it?
10 vibrating plate.
So the gravel with delivery is 50 quid, isn't it? Shy of a penny.
But you've got the other one as well.
Written the MOT.
Oh, the MOT.
£207.81.
Sorry?
£207.81. That is including VAT.
Yeah.
So the VAT 20% would be off of that, wouldn't it? Roughly.
Yes.
Whatever
Yeah,
the
I
VAT.
don't think there's VAT on the damage waiver or the delivery.
Okay.
Ah, right.
So it wouldn't quite be that easy.
No.
I get 168, is that right?
Yes.
Net of
No,
VAT.
That's 168 without VAT.
Right.
So it's under £200 and you want to propose that we're going to do that?
Yeah.
Are you happy with that, Ian?
Yes.
I can let you in there.
Right. I'm back on that. So that's the proposal.
Okay, I'll second that. Oh,
Graham seconded it, that's fine.
I jumped in there first.
And those in favour, please, of the spend. Thank you. So
Okay.
that's 7.
Yeah.
Any against? Any abstentions? Okay. Thank you.
Brilliant. Okay. Thank you very much. Now it says here that the green lot will talk with the Clark lot to find a mutual date. I think that was correct, wasn't it? I mean, are you okay to do it, Ian? Communicate with Nicola and volunteers for a convenient time? Yeah. Is he thinking?
It's gone. No.
Ian, we can't hear you.
Right.
He wasn't. I don't think he was talking.
Oh, neither do I. His lips weren't moving.
We'll leave it that you'll coordinate with Nicola as to when the material arrives, based on when you've got some volunteers and some time. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Fine. Thank you much. Right. So can I move on now? This is to review and decide upon a response to objections received to the proposed library in the bus stop. Now, this is one of those sort of classic examples where you think you've informed everybody, because it went into Spectrum and it was in the minutes, but it wasn't until someone had the bright idea of posting notices to the neighbours that we get a response. So it's quite interesting that it doesn't matter how much you think the general scattergun approach, you know, nothing quite beats the personal approach. So whoever thought of that, good idea. I don't think it, I mean, it's only really been brought to meetings so that we can see the importance of actually discussing or having it out there with our parishioners that you do need to consult. But I think in this particular case, we've got the answers that the insurance people are happy with the proposal, have it in there. If it does get vandalised, then we'll have to think about taking it out. I think the only question really is, well, we obviously haven't got a box yet or a cupboard. The question is really when we start it due to the current pandemic. But that's, I would think, the only issue that we haven't really addressed. Does anyone wish to add anything at all? Or no? No? Okay. So, Nicola, are you able to sort of respond back to the neighbours on that basis? Once I take a vote?
Of course.
And that the only issue is that we will be reviewing the best time to open it because of the pandemic. I think that's a fair way to say it, isn't it? Okay, so that's a proposal that will respond to the neighbours with the proposal that, sorry, with the caveat that we will look at the pandemic and decide when the best time to open the library or start the library is. Kind of a seconder, please, for that approach. Hello, kind of seconder, or does someone else want to propose? Oh, are you seconding, Ian?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you much. All in favour of that approach? Can I have a show of hands, please? Yeah, okay, that's 7. That's unanimous eventually. Brilliant. Okay, thank you much. That's good. Right, now the next item to discuss and decide upon the response to Nat's consultation. Now, Peter, this is your baby, isn't it? You've been on the.
I did go to a meeting.
You did go to the meeting, and you've given us lots of information.
I have. I hope everybody's had the opportunity to read it, because there was a lot in there. There's a lot in the consultation document, and the timescale is quite tight as to what we can possibly do or not. And I think overall, if I'll run through it very quickly for anybody who's going to watch the video, that there is a proposal for a new stacking area to be put over effectively the west side of Huntingdon down to St Neots over Grafham Water, where aircraft would stack at 8,000 feet upwards. But what you have got difference is, and the reason why that's being proposed is that will be a stack for Luton. At the present time, Luton and Stansted share 2 stacks, which are a bit further south and across. But to make this stack operational over Huntingdon St Neots, aircraft will come in one direction, slightly north of their existing routes, which will effectively be along the A14 corridor across Cambridge into that stack. And then when they come out of the stack, they will go down St Neots and into the proposed flight arrival paths, of which there are 2. There's one for westerly direction, there's one for easterly direction. The consultation is, when you read it, is more aimed at those people that will be affected by aircraft on the flight arrival routes, aircraft below 7,000 feet. HDC sent an email out to the parish council a while back saying this consultation is going on, nothing to worry about. It's, you won't get affected. The people, at the meeting I was at, there were 2 representatives from Huntingdon District Council there, I believe. There's certainly 1, I think it was 2. And they have got a meeting in January when they're going to discuss it further. We've got a letter from our MP. asking us for our feedback on the proposals because he's concerned, as he was in 2008, that perhaps the consultation process isn't a consultation process. I did send out a copy of a letter by another MP who talks about it's all benefit for Luton Airport, it's no benefit for anybody else, and that again there's no real option to say no. There's an online survey form which gives you, do you like this option 1? Yes, no, yes, maybe a bit, not a lot, no. Do you like option 2? Yes, maybe, not a bit, low. And we would have to submit our submission on that survey form, of which there's a box you can put more comment on, because as with all these online bits and pieces, that's where you go. I was looking at it and I've put some suggestions in that we should, perhaps as a parish council, write to Huntingdon District Council and ask them what their proposals are now that they've attended that first consultation meeting, or that consultation meeting. We should write to Cambridge County Council and ask what their thoughts are, because I haven't managed to find any thoughts from Cambridge County Council on this. We should write to our MP and say we are concerned about all the benefit going to Luton, none of the benefit coming out to areas that are affected by increased noise. I would like to ask them, or suggest that we ask them, what measures are being looked at to combine the effect of the new road and the new noise that will come in, because they're saying it's 55 decibels for an aircraft flying at 8,000 feet, and we've already got this effect of the new road coming in, which the A14 coming closer. I know when you go outside, you can hear it some days, you can't hear it other days. I don't know how often the stack will be used. They're saying it might be used in the mornings, rush hour, and at 5 o'clock rush hour, or higher peak flight. And they acknowledge that flights are down this year compared to last year, but they are modelling that flights will go back to pre-pandemic levels as early as next year. This was consulted on in 2008, and I asked what the difference was, because the 2008 consultation was withdrawn, and they told me that at that point the stack was going to be 6,000 feet minimum, not 8,000 feet. So that's, you know, well done. Here's a benefit to you. Let's put it up. So we need to agree as a parish council what we're going to do. We should put something on the website. We should put something on Facebook. We should put something in Spectrum, although that's going to be too late, I would imagine, because the closing date for the consultation is the 5th of February. We have one more parish council meeting between now and the 5th of February. And so my proposal would be that we write, as I proposed, to HDC, CCC and our local MP on the basis of that proposed, and report back at our next meeting at the beginning of February with our proposed comments for the survey. Any questions?
Anne, far away.
Just, I agree with all of that, Ian, and with writing to various people you've suggested.
Well done, Ian.
And can I just suggest that we, in order to add that impression of the racket that we have to deal with here and the air pollution, to give them some data on traffic volumes. Because
that won't be of any interest to the man.
But if we're talking about impact in terms of noise and air pollution, the point is, as you say, we've got the A14 on the doorstep with noise and air pollution, aeroplanes overhead, but we've also got this traffic in Hilton. So all three of them are increasing the nightmare that people have to live with all the time. So I'm just suggesting we stack the data to make the point as to what we have to live with.
Peter, you made the point that there wasn't much time, and also in your write-up you were talking about it'd be nice if you had something on the website that parishioners could see.
Yes.
But the proposal that is your proposal that we just put the 3 letters on the website, the letters that we are writing to CCC and etc., rather than our own letter.
I'm just looking at what
because we're not going to have,
again.
if we meet 2nd of February, whenever it is, we're not going to have very long to write a letter.
No, we're not. But I think I think I was proposing that we should put those letters up on the website that we're sending.
Proposing,
yeah. And that we should encourage parishioners to attend the online
webinars,
which are, where are we? I think there's, 13th of December might be a bit too soon, 7th of January, 11th of January and 20th of January. Certainly that should be up there as a pointer for people to go and look and see. Links to the consultation document. It's a big document. They've got a virtual exhibition which you can walk around and click on things and hear how necessary it is for safety reasons that this new stacking system is put in place. And why they're the 2 options that they want you to consider which one's best.
Sorry, 2 options. I didn't know.
Yeah. There's on the final approaches. There's 2 options that they're offering on each approach route. One gives a broader area for flights coming in,
right,
than the other one, but those are both below the stack.
Okay.
And one's westerly approach, one's easterly approach. Heather.
Okay.
Is our approach to say that we don't want the stack over Hilton at all, or is it to argue about the way that the stack's going to happen?
The stack won't be over Hilton. We will be, according to the maps that they've got, under the flight path that will come into the stack. Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Sorry. Yes.
So it's not all the flights are going in the stack. That's what that bit is what I'm talking about. That corridor is going to produce. At the moment, we don't have aircraft. No. Yeah, we get the odd military aircraft. They can't go south because below Royston is the east-west air traffic for the country. To the left of St Neots is the north-south traffic for the country. So when they look, and above Newmarket is Milden Hall and Lake and Heath's airspace. So when they're looking to separate this out, the only corridor is that, if you like, the A14 corridor.
Yeah.
So that will put aircraft up there that we don't have and haven't had, certainly in all the time I've lived here. I don't know. I believe that years gone by, there was a number of flights from Auchenbury.
So my point is really, are we complaining about this new airway coming in on the A14? Are we saying we don't want that and trying to argue for that not to occur? Or are we taking their proposals and trying to make some adjustments to it?
I don't think we're saying anything. I think Peter's approach was to actually ask HTC for guidance and CCC for guidance, wasn't it?
HTC in their original email were saying it's not a problem. It's over 8,000 feet. But at the meeting, the inference was that perhaps they've been receiving comments from villagers saying they don't want it. And so let's ask them what they're thinking, because we don't know what they're thinking. We don't know what CCC are thinking. Now, if CCC are saying that's progress, you know, how much time do you want to invest knowing that your county council is supporting it?
Yeah. I'd also say that sort of word from the flight deck is that to use the stacking, they don't often use stacking, and therefore they only use the corridor to get in the stack. Mostly they'll be flying south of here straight into Luton. Apparently you get notice of where you are in the queue over the channel. Yeah. So if you are stacking, and
that's what they were saying. They don't envisage the stack being used much outside of those hours. But you know, we don't have it at the moment.
No, I know, but
Cambridgeshire doesn't have it at the minute.
No, but in theory, you won't hear much difference because the planes won't be flying over us.
But Richard Fuller, the MP, says we could have 300 flights being stacked a day.
But that's what he says. That's what he says, and I can't tell you whether that's true or not, because the guys at NAT said it is unlikely that the stack will be used outside of these two areas. They did say, I don't know if you've seen that bit, they gave you a bit where you can go on their website and hear what an aircraft sounds like. Great, turn the volume down, you can't hear it. Turn the volume up to loud, it's awful. But there's nothing that says this is what the actual measure is, you know? So we do need, we definitely need to ask the question, what consideration is there for the increased traffic pollution from the new A14? I think, sorry, Anne, I think we also need to ask them, why is it that it's only Luton that's going to gain anything out of it? Which is what Richard Fuller's saying, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
you can't. I mean, that's the same with any development, isn't it? Someone makes some money out of their house, everybody else suffers because it's in their back garden. But I mean, I don't think you can really ask for some money because Luton are getting some more flights, can you? Really, practically.
Any harm?
Just to come back to Jonathan Janogly, I mean, he's not keen on it. So can we include him in our list of recipients and write to him as well to say, well, neither are
Well, we have to reply. I don't know if we've replied to his letter so far.
No, I've sent a holding response to say the parish council will discuss it and let you know.
And definitely, Anne, I think I said we need to our MP saying how concerned we are about the lack of consultation and the appearance that it's now done deal. Because you read the consultation document, it's done.
And the levels of air pollution and noise pollution that we're likely to be subjected to from a number of angles, including aircraft.
Yeah, I was just reading what I suggested. We definitely need to write to him. I still have an issue that this is a consultation about aircraft. This is a consultation about flight plans. We mentioned that the village has been subjected to the increased noise from the A14, which is there is an argument to say it's subjective, subject to wind direction, but that's all they're going to be interested in, isn't it? They're not going to be interested in road data. They're talking about air data, I think.
But we're talking about air. We're talking about air in terms of pollution and noise.
And do we have any figures for air? I think we need to ask that question, whereas I suggested we ask the question about what consideration has been taken for road and air noise. We can ask the same question. What about pollution?
You say ask, are you asking CCC?
I think that was to NATS eventually, was going to be, no, I was going to write to them now, write to NATS now and say, here's a question. Have you got an answer, please? Okay, so
so you're talking about 3 letters.
I was MP, NATS, 4 letters, HDC and CCC.
Yeah, NATS was the one I hadn't picked up.
Yeah.
What are you saying? What are you saying to Ginobili? Because he wasn't. I thought he was hedging his bets. He just said, "Let me know what you think." We're now asking him.
To our MP, I said we should say, and I don't know if people agree, we are concerned about the lack of consultation and the appearance that this is now a done deal. Pointing out how in Hilton we've only just seen increased traffic noise from the new A14, and there's proposed to introduce aircraft flying towards a stack. Indications in the consultation saying that aircraft at 8,000 feet will produce 55 decibels of noise. There is no indication in the consultation report of any comparative measures for the new road and new flights. And we could also bring in comment about Richard Fuller's letter, how nobody except Luton gain from the airport and what steps can be taken to compensate communities to be affected by the proposals, and ask him what his position is, because we were pleased to see in 2008 he objected to the scheme, and his initial letter to us appears to show he's not happy with the current proposals. And I would also, love a little note I make for our when we put on the website, and that we should also encourage parishioners that they can write to our MP. He is welcoming comment direct from parishioners as well.
Okay. That's quite a mouthful there.
Yeah.
Would you like to read back the notes?
Yeah, no. Anyone else want to say anything before we get Peter to summarise so that we can actually action those things?
Right. Okay.
Fine. Okay. So Peter, take it one step.
the proposal is as in the supporting document I gave you. Okay, word for word, except I would include where the letter says increased traffic noise from the A14, we could include potential increased air pollution. Yeah, is that everybody happy? Because you'll note that number 2 in my proposal says to NATS asking the same. And to number 3, to HGC and CCC with the same comment about noise stroke data, lack of it, and we could include air quality in that as well. Yeah, and then put those letters on the website. So you've got what I'm proposing.
Go for it.
Is anybody happy? Do try and have a look through the exhibition, although you might feel that you can't, we're not going to be able to change it anyway, but you know, there are compelling reasons why they're going to do it, one of which is safety, but there just seems to be little consideration.
Just to pick me up on this one here, you said it's the same as your proposal for 132. Yeah. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. No, sorry. The item we're discussing is 132. Item 132.
132. Yes.
Yeah. Now on your supporting documents, I got letters to grant chaps. I've got the letter from
No. On our support, in my report, you've got, I would suggest letters 1 to our MP, 2 to NATS, 3 to HDC and CCC.
Peter, it's NATS consultation meeting report that Peter's reading from. It's 132 NATS consultation meeting report. It's a Word document.
Sorry, Graham.
Right, fine. Okay, I'm there now. Thank you.
And I would just propose that we include air quality in that. And I've said post on our website the letters for parishioners to read and suggest that they may want to attend in the public webinars, highlight the link for them to register. And I was thinking after that, we should encourage them to, that they can write to our MP as well. As well as obviously replying to the survey. Now they might want to wait for the next parish council meeting, because at that meeting we're going to have to agree what our submission is, I would guess.
Yes. I mean, I'm okay with that, apart from the bit about the financial compensation, which I think is a bit daft, especially for a village the size of Hilton.
I'm only going on with what's been asked of them by one MP already.
By somebody else on the other side of the A1. But
There's no harm in asking.
North Beds.
Yeah, okay. Right, so that's a proposal.
And can I just check, Peter, you wanted it on Facebook and emailed as well?
Facebook and the website, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it worth trying to put some description as to what the noise level could be?
It's in the consultation document, yeah, 55 decibels.
Yeah, but
it says it's like an office, a background office noise.
Yeah. I mean, it's not massively loud unless you're on a really quiet day, and then you'd really hear it.
And it depends how frequent they are as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the same as the A14 is normally on average.
Yeah.
So that could be double the noise volume then.
Yeah, sound doesn't work that way. 50 doesn't make 100.
But we might well, yeah, I don't know. I can't tell you whether we're going to be affected by it or not, or how long, over what period of time we actually will hear noise. But what I do know is that we don't have flights at the moment. And if there is a consistent number of flights, then we will hear them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we should be saying something.
Isn't it, please?
Nicola, are you
happy with that, Nicola, or do you want to talk to me?
Saying for us to take a vote on that?
I think I've got enough notes. Yes.
Fine. Okay. So, Peter, that's your proposal.
Yep.
Do you want a seconder for that?
Heather seconded it.
Okay.
All those in favour?
Of the 4 letters, all those worn down by it. Right, that's unanimous.
And go to one of the webinars, have a listen if you can, because you know it's informative.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. That's super. Get rid of that. Go back to the agenda. Done library, done nets. Right, item 133, to review the information regarding the reopening of the quarry at Hemmingford Gray and decide whether any further action should be taken. Now, you've seen the update so far is that they weren't obliged to tell us. These weren't changes that would have required us to be notified, and that we have had some communication with the owner, not the people who's taking the gravel out or the sand and the stones. Done quite well so far. It's a question of whether we do any more or just keep a watching brief. Discuss.
Can I just say thank you to Nicola for asking them to at least go through 20 miles an hour through the village. I know it's not enforceable, but thank you.
So, I mean, the point is, unfortunately, we won't know which lorries they are because they're all being the lorries are being they'll be under different badge names, won't they?
Subcontractors.
Yeah, so we won't know which lorries have come from that quarry. But
I don't think there's any more we can do, is there?
Don't know.
I do think we should remember this when we get to point the one about the 428.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we need to incorporate that some information about this potential increased traffic when we're talking about traffic going through the village.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that gets brought out a bit, but we'll see. Okay, so we're generally, we're not happy about it, but we're happy that we've done the most we can.
I think so.
Okay, so that's a proposal that we do no further action other than have to keep a watching brief if we can. And thanks, Nicola, for getting that information so far. So that's a proposal. Can I have a seconder, please? No more action. Rob saying he's seconding. All in favour of that approach? Unanimous. That's brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. Right, moving on. This is item 134. Discuss and decide upon whether any action can be taken regarding the state of the surface of the bridleway number 1, known as the drift. Now, hopefully you've seen some pictures. Hopefully you might even have seen it yourself. This is in the last month or so, perhaps 2 months. There's been a lot of vehicle use up and down that bridleway, which has caused it to be rather difficult to walk down. I did manage to walk down it this morning, but I do certainly accept people's comments that if you were a bit, well, it might even be slippery at sometimes. It's a bit hard this morning. It's difficult to pass. The problem is that you've got the feed tractor comes from the top, the north direction, and the car comes from the south. So basically you've got tyre tracks the entire length of it. It's a question of what we do next. Now, there is this system where you can log on to the Cambridgeshire County website and report problems for bridleways, which we've told people who have come to us to do. It's a question of if we do any more. Now, the suggestion is that we write to CCC, and I think we could also write to our county councillor, see whether he can pull a few strings as to what more could be done. Sorry, Heather. Yeah.
Yeah, I fell off my bike going across there last week. It is really dangerous.
You tried to cycle down there?
I know. I was going quite slowly, but it is dangerous. It's exacerbated by those tiles that somebody has put down, which are now all broken up by the car. I have reported it to Cambridge County Council personally on their website. There are 8 complaints so far about that. So I do think the next stage is for them to actually act on that.
Yeah, we can certainly. Peter, yeah.
Can we write to the landowner?
Well,
the issues, the complaints that we've received as a parish council regarding the state of the lane.
The problem that we got is I'm not too sure. I mean, I know bridleways are for horses, bicycles, and pedestrians. I don't know whether was going to be something I was going to ask Nicola to do, is to look into the accepted uses, whether you're allowed to take a vehicle down there for access. And I suppose, strictly speaking, the vehicles are down there for access to that field. So I was going to suggest that would be the approach, is to find out what are the lawful uses for wheeled vehicles before we go down the avenue that you're thinking of suggesting. I prefer to be a bit more au fait with the facts.
Fine, fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything to say? Rob, was your hand up or you? No. Okay, so that's the two.
Do we know? Sorry, do we know who is driving up and down it?
Yeah. well, we don't know them by name, but we do know that they have exchanged words with various parishioners, according to the email that we've got.
Are they from the village?
Yeah. Oh no, so I don't think the people are from the village. I don't know, but yeah, they are regular visitors to the horses. Yeah, I mean,
It's tough, isn't it?
But
yes.
the bridleway is owned by the county council, isn't it?
I was thinking about that.
Responsibility of the county council. It's not owned by them. It's their responsibility.
I did do it. Please, Nicola, don't stop digging into it. But the bridleway is usually just a right over private land where you have to guarantee a certain level of access to horses. So if they've also got, if it's their land and they want to drive a car on it, not a lot we can do about it. Really.
Unless they're making it impassable, presumably.
By horses, yeah.
Is that all? I thought bridleways were also bikes and pedestrians.
I'm not sure about bikes. Certainly pedestrians, yes. But
Bikes are.
traditionally horses and pedestrians.
Okay. Yeah. I think if we just continue looking at Cambridgeshire County Council, so that's one. If we write them a letter, I think that might get better. That might land on someone's desk rather than an email, the website approach, which can stack up somewhere and no one can see them. So I'm going to propose a letter. The other thing is whether we get our county councillor involved. I don't know whether that's overkill at this point. No, you're nodding, Peter.
Yeah, definitely involve him.
Okay, so that's the two or three approaches in. We'll take it all in one. I think it's not too controversial. Write a letter to Cambridgeshire County Council because we know the contact there. Write to Ian Bates, and then we could also ask Nicola to do a bit of homework about permitted uses for vehicles down bridleways. That's my proposal. Can I have a seconder, please, for that? Yeah, Heather seconding. All in favour? Brilliant. Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much. Where have we got to? Right, now the next items we've got are the traffic items. I was going to suggest, I don't know whether you want to bring the 428 higher up, whether it's going to affect, basically we are getting more cars directly as a result of the 428. I don't know whether it would affect the letter and affect the petition. If we discuss that, bring it ahead.
Put it in first and then go back to the next few bits.
Oh yeah, go on, because I think it will affect what's happening. I think that's been quite a revelation to me, certainly. So I'm going to propose that we discuss 428 quickly now. So we'll bring up 1372 as the next item to be discussed. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Seconder for that? No seconder? Oh yeah, Peter seconding. Okay, all in favour? Let's discuss that now. 1, 2, 3. And Anne, are you happy to? Yep. Fine, unanimous. Okay, so moving on to 137. This is the A428. Now, basically, I had a correspondence from a parishioner, and I was quite shocked at what he showed me in terms of what Google Map is showing. I don't know whether anyone has been on the new A14 and tried to go south. You have to actually get onto the A1 and going north. There's no way of directly getting onto the A1 south. You have to actually get on the A1 going north. Remember to come off at Brampton Hut, whiz back round, do a complete U-E, and then back down the A1. So you're talking of 3 miles deviation. The other thing is when you're on the A14, there is no A1 south sign. So if you did want to come on the A1 south, you have to know the area. There's no signpost on the A14 that I saw that say A1 South. It just says A1. And I missed the Brampton Hut because it doesn't say come off here for A1 South. You can go shooting up to the next turning. So it's a shocking state of affairs to the point where you'll see that people who are living north of us, as far east as Swayze, I mean, whether Northstowe would also be affected is that they are being directed through Hilton to get onto A1, and they're also being directed through Hilton to get onto the A14 off to Kettering. So it's a dreadful state of affairs, and we actually, obviously we have the situation where traffic numbers are hard to prove, but if you just feed in the numbers or feed in where you're going to, you'll quite clearly see that coming through Hilton is the quickest route, which is something that was quite shocking. So I would have, the approach really is whether it's going to affect what's happening, the next items we've got, 135 and 136. But I think we also ought to be writing to those people who designed the A14 and told us that things were going to improve, traffic modelling would show that cars wouldn't be coming through Hilton. Well, and one name springs to mind. Whether we copy County Council as well, I don't know. Discuss. I mean, the thing is that the living in Hilton, you don't notice it. It's only when you talk to someone who lives in St Ives or elsewhere that you realise what a rat run Hilton is. Sorry, Anne, you're saying.
Well, just in a sense, what you've said makes the point that several of us have been talking about, and others in the Hilton traffic group, that we need to help county councillors, Highways England, all these bodies see the extent to which the consequences of their actions end up with us having more and more traffic. And each of them just looks at their own little part and they don't look at the whole. And unless and until we get a whole range of people, County Council, Highways England, and the rest, combined authority, to actually see how the whole thing adds up and the impact on us, I don't think we're going to get anywhere in terms of reducing traffic levels. Not to say we shouldn't try, of course.
Okay. The other point I should mention is that why it's there on the 428 is that once the 428 is improved, the situation isn't going to get any better, because the direct route to the A1 will be a lot better than it currently is, and even now it's favourable. Does anybody wish to sort of take up any of the suggestions, whether we do write to HE to ask them whether this modelling is what they expected?
Can we write to HE, the County Council and the Combined Authority, the same information, so that they can, and the fact that we're writing to the others, so that they can see how the whole thing does add up for us? Okay.
Nicola, have you got relative, could you find relative addresses?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously know HE and we can find a CCC, but Combined Authority.
Yeah, I don't know about the Combined Authority, but I'm sure I can find something.
Find someone. Okay, that's good. And the same letter to each. Okay. Okay, so that's the sorry, Peter.
Could you ask our local county councillor who in the Combined Authority we should write to?
It's going to be a bit overloaded, isn't it, with the amount of stuff that's coming up as well. Well, if Nicola can't find it, I'm sure we can, because it'll be the same letter to each, won't it?
We've had a correspondence from Matt Statten, who's the road safety partnership person for the Combined Authority, or Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, which is basically the Combined Authority.
He works for CCC though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, include him is all I'm saying.
He's definitely the person to contact.
Okay. So that's a proposal that you write a letter to say that we're getting extra traffic and was this what they expected. We'll include a couple of Google Maps there to prove it.
What are they going to do about it?
Yeah, well, yeah, yes, or were they expecting it? Okay, so that's the proposal. Can I second for that, please? Heather, thank you much. All in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, unanimous. Brilliant. Oh, and me as well. Thank you. Good. Okay, so that's kind of you. Thank you for bringing that up. So item 135, this is to receive an update regarding the LHI feasibility study. This is the first one, so 2021. An update on that. So we've had various emails exchanges between, let's say, CCC and Nicola and the Parish Council. It's a question of if we can see any way forward, what the suggestions are, and the revelation that they haven't got many car data, traffic data for us, which is quite surprising.
However,
However,
we have got some figures supplied by Cambridgeshire County Council from their own traffic stats, which in fact showed that the number of vehicles going through the village were higher than we anticipated.
Is that from the Diamond report?
Yeah. They're their own stats, so chuck them back at them.
But the other thing that's quite worrying is that we had various traffic monitoring done before the A14 was done.
Yeah.
Because that was always the argument, wasn't it? You know, we wanted a datum now.
Yeah, but that is in our proposed letter to the local county councillor, is asking for where's the review of that data, I think, is what we were looking for.
Yes, but I mean, the LHI lady is telling us that she hasn't got data.
Then we should go back and tell her they have.
Well,
and we can refer to the meeting date in 2015, where Andrew Munro and our local county councillor told us that traffic data was being collected by Highways England on those routes. And I'm sure if I really dug deep, I would find a document which has got proposed traffic numbers down Gravely Way, pre and post, and probably down the 1040 as well. And that would have been based on information taken before the A14 was built.
Are you saying that you could find that?
Yeah.
Okay, I heard that. Thank you. So with regards to what we do with the LHI, do we just try and get as many figures out of them as, you know, because obviously we're kind of moving on to the next one where we are going for the 20, you know, we are applying for a 24-hour ban. The LHI feasibility study is kind of moving off the end, but there should be £2,000 that have been allocated to us. Whether they would provide extra technology that can do vehicle measurements. There are some hints in that email that Nicola gave us that there are various ways of measuring vehicles which they could do.
Well, can I suggest that you ask the Hilton traffic group that has parishioners in it with far more vehicle movement knowledge than any of us here. One, because they've got a history in terms of data that they can access. And we've already had the discussion about the different types of equipment that record traffic movements. And I think their input would be valuable here to advise on what next.
Okay, well, we are at the moment, we're waiting for monies, aren't we? We're waiting for CCC to come back with what they can provide for us. So that will be another factor as well. The two different types of measuring that they're suggesting.
Well, they've told us about them before, with all due respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't know whether they're actually given us. They're now going away to give us an exact price. Previously, they've said it would be about. So I mean, they haven't actually said whether they would provide that within the £2,000 budget. So it's a case of whether they will actually do it for us.
Well, what they said to us previously was that they had the equipment to hire, but we would have to pay for it.
Yes, indeed. But I mean, hopefully that will be part of the £2,000 grant that they've given us. All those.
I actually don't believe it exists. I suspect they feel they've spent it on the analysis they've done thus far, which doesn't amount to much, but it's not many hours of office time, £2,000.
No,
Okay.
Anna specifically said that the most of the money's still there to be spent, that there's been a couple of hours of officer time spent on it, but there's still money to be spent.
Okay,
so I mean, at the moment,
thank you.
We could leave that with them, that the fact that they've gone, or they're going away to get prices, aren't they? For the various means. I mean, I think that if we can get any traffic data from them, that will be useful, because it should hopefully.
What can be done within the remit. So we nailed down the remit as referencing removal from the AFR map. So given that the AFR map's under review, it's what they can do within that remit.
Okay, but the ball is back in their court, isn't it, effectively?
Yes.
Okay.
So can we not link it more directly to the Diamond area study, because at least there they acknowledge that Hilton does suffer from excess traffic, and it's looking at a more strategic perspective on traffic flows in this area. And can we not maybe get them to focus the feasibility study we asked for, if you like, within that study, in order to say, factor us into your calculations about improving the whole routing system around this area?
Others from the quiet section. Any thoughts or ways forward?
I just get a feeling that maybe this bit has just gone. You know, whether we can rescue anything out of this one, maybe we should concentrate on supporting the next one.
Okay. Well, we'll say we can yeah, because the next one mentions the diamond, doesn't it? I would then suggest that we just continue to ask Nicola to continue to discuss with Anna and see what comes out of it as a bonus if anything does come from it. Okay, that's a proposal that we keep up that corridor of communication. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Seconder for that approach? Yeah, Kieran. Okay, all in favour? Fine. Okay, thank you very much. It's quite amusing when Sharon leaves. It looks like Ian's looking over a wall. In fact, it could even be Ian's in the room, Sharon, but still. Okay, so moving on. Now we get on to the what the working group have been looking at for the last week or so, or month or so. Item 136.1. Discuss and decide upon the recommendation to send letters to the local councillor. There have been various drafts on this one. Are we happy with where we're going to on this one? What the next move is? You four? You're still here? Yes, you four.
So we were set a task, weren't we, to review the document that Anne had presented to the council. But the first bit on here is about a letter to our local council. This wasn't part of the original proposal. This was something that we as a working group came up with, correct? That we wanted to write specifically to follow up a meeting that was held in 2015, where Cambridgeshire County Council undertook that they would review traffic numbers modelling after completion of A14. And we wanted, you've got a copy of the letter, and basically we're asking for details of who we should contact to make sure that this happens, so that we're not letting it drop off the radar and get lost, because it was an important promise or undertaking that was made by Cambridgeshire County Council. So that's the basis of the letter.
Can we vote on that first?
That is a proposal, isn't it? Because that's what the letter said. The only one I wondered, Anne, was whether or not we included in that letter a little bit extra about this A428 thing.
Well, indeed. Why not? Goodness. Yeah.
I still don't understand why the NMU's in there, but that's I can be shot down that one.
In our letter.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting my.
Yeah, you're getting confused.
Sorry,
because it's not in the letter.
No, letter's fine. Yes. If you could add a 428, I would like.
I think what we could say is in there we could say how after the paragraph that says that when CCC applied for TRO, we could add there that we were very concerned to note from a parishioner that Google Maps is now directing traffic through Hilton along the B1040 for you to get onto the A1 South. And this needs to be reviewed on an urgent basis. Do
you want to mention they're also being directed to get on the 14 to go east, to go west?
Yes, every angle.
Okay. Now, are you happy for the Nicola to do that, or do you want to, as a working group, are you proposing to do that? Or sorry, no, you're right. Let's just take a vote on that. That we're happy with the letter in its current state with that additional statement about the 428. That's the proposal. Heather, you're seconding? Yeah. All in favour? Brilliant. Okay. Now, Nicola, are you happy to take that on with that extra paragraph?
Yep.
Brilliant. Okay. Thank you very much. And then just calling up the agenda back again. So item 136.2, discuss and decide upon whether to send the petition. So we got a copy of the petition, didn't we? A one page with a tear off.
We have. It's not quite the finalised document. Okay. There needs to be a couple more changes, I believe. They haven't been done yet, have they, Kieran?
No, I ran out of time, so I did put a call out to somebody to actually just send me the text, but.
It was post that you amended it with that, and then there was a little bit changed because we said in there there's a statement which is in fact incorrect in it.
Yeah, so I just asked if somebody could just rewrite it, and then I could just cut and paste.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a petition that you would effectively send to all parishioners, with a view that hopefully we would get a big response, which we would use to support our case.
This goes back to the comment that when I attended that extraordinary traffic regulation meeting, places in Cambridge said,
oh, yes,
we have a petition of 300 signatures from local residents. So we thought we would be looking for one from Hilton.
okay. This is when you actually presented to the LHI, is it? Or
it wasn't, it was the highways traffic or whatever they call
the
them.
COVID one.
Yeah.
Yes, because I'm just bearing in mind what Heather said earlier, is what dates we've got for this the LHI time when we have to present, because we did one this year, 2019. We actually sat there where Anne and Lisa sat there and presented our LHI bid. And I get the impression from what Heather found is that there's going to be a date soon when we have to sit and present. Now, I'm not too sure when it is. It's a bit of speculation, isn't it? We're talking February?
We don't
December
know.
or January.
Yeah.
According to the website, it's December or January.
Yeah.
We don't know yet, yeah. And so we need, that's another proposal we might have to make tonight.
What's that?
The parish council authorising somebody to sit at that meeting, should it be called before our next parish council meeting in February.
But
last year it was February the 3rd, the LHI meeting that Anne, Lisa and I attended.
I'd be surprised at any. Well, wasn't the objective though that we were going to sit there with this petition tucked in our back pocket?
No, the petition was going to be sent in ahead of, so that they've got it when they go to discuss it.
So there's going to have to be some action between now and February, isn't there? Are you thinking that we can do enough tonight to get the wheels in motion?
Those were the proposals.
Mm-hmm. What the petition is?
Proposal for the petition,
yep.
And then a proposal to that. Well, the proposal on the agenda is to allow the four of us to do some work when we got a reply from the letter to the local county councillor and to the petition.
Yep.
But I think we're slightly getting overtaken, aren't we, by the timescale that this LHI bid, it could come up before we have our next parish council meeting.
Yes.
Therefore, as a parish council, we should authorise who's going to present it.
Rather than
in case of need, because otherwise you're going to have to call an extraordinary meeting.
Which is better or easier. I'm just thinking about the timescale tonight, that's all. I'm just thinking that might be a
delegate it to Nicola, Anne and Heather.
Well, they might, okay. It's available. But then the petition.
Finalise the petition document, and an idea from Heather was to reduce the time frame for responses to 2 weeks rather than a month, so that we can actually get reactions and summarise those in time for any potential requests to turn up to a meeting to discuss it.
Okay. So the four of you, are you happy that you can get on with that petition and get it into a form where
it only needs one
alteration? Get it into a form, we print it, we send it out, and we get the results.
It only needs one alteration, I think, now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. But and it would need to be. Are we going to get it printed? Well, we'll have to get that. That's another item here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
is there only one alteration needed to what it is?
Oh, so how it is at the moment? There's a statement on there that says that the parish council has been supported St Ives, and we need to remove that statement.
Right.
The
because we
typos,
haven't.
I also pointed out, Peter, haven't been updated. So we've got good instead of goods. We've got area.
Oh, okay. I thought that bit had been done on a revised document, but we'll make sure then that is revised.
Right, because I've noticed a couple of mistakes on it as well.
Let's have a little look at what you've got. This is in Dropbox?
Yes.
What did you notice, Ian?
Well, if you look at it, it says one of the main objectors in Fenstanton have closed their site. It should be has closed their site. So it's one objector.
Fine. Yep.
And further below, further down, it says this number has doubled since 2000, And then we go on and say there has been a 50% increase since 2000. Well, only one of those can be correct.
Good point. Thank you.
I think it's the number of HGVs that have doubled.
Well, let's state that, but
Yeah.
Yes.
you know, those two,
Yeah, fine.
those two are contradictory.
And I think we were going to change the numbers, or I suggested we change the numbers, because we had this, there's a report come through from the Diamond work group that tells us the actual number of HGVs through the village in a week was 1,115.
Yeah.
And the number of vehicles through the village was 8,800, 8,700. It was 1,000 more than we've got on that statement. So we're going to change that as well, if everybody agrees.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Can we vote on that?
So I was going to say, whilst I've got the floor, we also say that the nursery outside play areas within 1 metre of the road. Well, that's incorrect, because there's the footpath, plus there's 2 metres of grass, plus the hedge. So it's more like about 3-4 metres.
Well, the property is within a metre.
No, it's not.
The boundary.
No, the actual,
Site boundary is within a metre.
The site boundary is the middle of the hedge, and the middle of the hedge to the road is about 3 metres.
Oh, beg your pardon.
Right, thank you, Ian. So we can either change that, or we'll change it, is within.
Just put it's close to.
It's close to the main road, yeah. All right. And yeah, we're going to increase the number. So we'll get that. I heard what you said, Kieran. Let you have the things. So we'll let you have the things. We were going to ask the clerk to do a Survey Monkey.
Now, there's a slight issue with Survey Monkey. They've just changed their regs, so you're now limited to a maximum of 40 responses on Survey Monkey on a free account. It used to be 100 responses, and now you're limited to 40.
Right. Okay, so let's remove reference to Survey Monkey then, and do it by pounding the streets and delivering this to people's doors, putting it on the website and putting it on the Facebook account.
And then are we going to require hard copy responses, or will we take email back?
We'll take email back if people want to email in their comments. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do a survey on Facebook?
I've no idea.
I don't know. I thought you could, but I don't know for sure.
I'd have to look into it.
Yeah.
Let's just do email and paper responses.
So we just need to change that as well. Change tear off strip.
And previously we've had a little box in the posters, haven't we? Whether that's a possibility for responses.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we've got to think about, so we were saying a month originally. Now, Heather, you're saying 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which
Christmas.
under normal circumstances would be fine, wouldn't it? But we've got this Christmas thing in the middle of it. Should we
How
say
soon?
responses
what
by the 15th of January?
8th.
Well, the thing is that we're one of the proposals is that we're going to have to get this printed, aren't we? That's the quote there. So that might take a few days to get it printed. I mean, it's not going to be this petition is not going to be available till next week, is it? By the time you guys have done your mods and it printed, I didn't see what the delivery was, but I can't imagine it'd be back on our doorstep before Monday at the earliest.
Anything on that, Nicola?
I don't have any more information than I sent you.
Okay.
Where was it being printed? Where was the printing suggested to be done? Sorry,
Excel Press,
which is
St Neots.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I hadn't read that bit. I saw the cost. I didn't.
But I mean, can we take it a step at a time? Is the fact, I mean, the 3.62 is that we did a survey for that cost. It seems that the general sort of chit chat is that we're happy with the survey. Sorry, with the petition.
Yeah.
And are we happy to spend the £50 to £75 that it will take to print the 420 copies?
Yeah.
That's the proposal. Can I second it, please? And second, all in favour of that spend? Brilliant. Okay, that's fine. So we've done 1.62. we then need to discuss upon how we use the results from that petition. When we actually, we'll need to find out how long it will take to get the petition sorted so that you can put a good date in the survey. So
Well,
I can't leave that with
the 8th of January, and if printing delays things a bit, we should out till the 12th or something.
Yeah, we'll need to perhaps just
keep it tight.
Yeah, we'll need to communicate with Nicola to see how long the press people will take to actually produce it.
And we need to have a commitment that we'll all deliver promptly as soon as it arrives.
There's only 6 areas, so 3 people are going to be lucky. Yeah, there'll be plenty of time over Christmas to do that.
Save it for your cards and you can distribute them at the same time.
Good idea. Good idea. Yeah. So that's the basis. So we're happy for that. And so when we get the responses in,
yes,
are we happy under the sort of supervision of the clerk to get those sent off to the various people?
That's the proposal.
Yeah.
And I'm suggesting that the proposal is amended to include something to allow if needed, people to present the LHI bid.
Okay.
If needed.
Yes.
Before the next parish council meeting.
Okay, so we're only sending the petition. Are we actually sending it?
We are proposing it's sent to, and we've now got a contact name, 3 contact names that it needs to be sent to, being Mark Stanton, is it? Stanton?
I wouldn't have thought so.
Matt. Yeah, not Mark Stanton. I know who Mark Stanton is. Matt, Ian Bates, and another councillor who I did jot his name down because they're named as they're setting up. Oh no, sorry, mixed groups. I'll ignore that comment from me.
Okay, but
I'll come back to it in a minute.
Yeah, but if we have the authority to send it to those people, and we can ask Nicola to produce a letter which summarises the petition.
So we need to send it to the people who are looking at our LHI bid. That's the crucial bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that Councillor Bates?
So what happens if we don't get a very good response from the petition?
We send whatever we've got.
What's the definition of good response?
It could do us more damage than good if it's a bad response.
Yeah, I think you're
so
right.
Shall we say if we get 100 responses or more, we will send it to support the LHI bid? That's a quarter of the village.
Yeah.
Well, it's not, is it? Because 100 out of 1,000 residents.
830.
Yeah.
Adults. Yeah.
So 12%.
I think we need a bit more than that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just raising it as a possibility because if you've got a village of 800 odd people and you've got 50 responses, it doesn't look very good, does it? It's not giving a good message.
Well, that's why we're saying that next one is that we can make that decision, can't we? If the parish council delegate it to us.
The parish council can only delegate to an officer or a committee.
we can't delegate whether you send it off or not. I mean, I think it's perfectly fair to actually set a number now. But,
well, I mean, if the number is very low, could we not just have an extraordinary meeting just to cover that one issue?
Yeah.
Let's hope it's not. I mean, I don't believe it's going to be.
Yeah. There's 800 people, but I'm assuming only 1 per household will do it. So it's going to half it instantly, isn't it?
Yes.
Potential.
Yeah, but I mean,
we have written on it that everybody in the household can sign, haven't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have indeed.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the thing is that provided we've got help from Nicola, it's not a difficult thing to have an EO nowadays. We don't need to book a building. We can just meet on Zoom and just have a 15-minute chat. We've only had this number about. Do you still want the petition to go with it? Because I don't think there's any harm in having that EO as a backup. In fact, maybe even have an EO just to sort of see how many we got and see what else has changed.
It's fine by me. If you
I think it's a good idea. If we're moving at this speed, I think we ought to.
Yeah. I think because of the lateness and the sort of general tiredness, we don't want to make a mistake. So I think if we get the petition out and then we have an EO to review the response, And at that point, Peter, we can decide who's best or available, because hopefully we'll get a bit more information as to when the LHI presentation is. And we can
No,
see.
that's fine. I just didn't know whether there was an appetite to have an EO.
Well, nowadays it's quite easy, isn't it? You just sit down and chat. So it's not
I was saying yes, I think.
Yeah, okay.
It's fine by me, because
So-
there was something on the Diamond route which said that a working committee is going to be set up to review this, and we should be writing to them as well. But we'll bring that up at the proposed EO.
Yeah, at the time. Okay, so what proposal do I need to do that you guys carry on?
I have written down your proposal as hold an EO to review the response to the petition and delegate the LHI representatives.
That's very good. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Oh, and seconding, all in favour? All still with us? Yeah, brilliant. Okay, that's great. So has that done the LHI to death? So there's a few actions there to move that along. That's great. Thank you very much. Discuss and decide upon switching to the Equals corporate card. Basically, we're paying £2 a month now.
Sorry, Graham, do we need to vote on the purchase of the printing?
I thought we had.
Did it all
I
in
thought we
one.
had.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
on the word,
All
sorry.
in one motion.
So this is the new suggested Equals corporate card. It's going to save us about £10 a year, £12 a year. Should give us all the same facilities as we've currently got, just a bit of a saving really. So that's the recommendation. If anyone wants to chat about it, speak now. Proposal is that we go for that card then. Can I have a seconder for that, please?
Is Nicola happy with that?
Well, it came from Nicola, so I'm presuming.
Well, I don't know.
It's the
I
same
didn't-
company, it's just their corporate arm.
Thank you.
I didn't find it. It's come from somebody else. So who seconded it? Sorry, I missed that. Ian seconding it. All in favour?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. That's good. Right, to discuss upon, and this is the waste management local plan proposals. Now, I think the points to bear in mind, as we've been as hinted here, is that we're really only allowed to comment on things that we commented on before, and the changes that have been suggested, the amendments, aren't anything that we discussed before or we mentioned. So the recommendation is do nothing. Unless anyone's read it and wants to look into that one, I would suggest that we just say that we've had received it, and yeah. So the recommendation to 139 is that we do no more. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Seconder for that? No seconding? Oh, Peter, seconder. All in favour? Can I put your hand up? Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, discuss and decide upon any comments regarding the Cambridgeshire and Peterborough Combined Authorities draft budget consultation. Anybody got an appetite for that one?
Yeah, I think we should comment on it.
Right. What do you want to say? Because I haven't read it.
Well, given their objectives, which is all about healthy living, clean air, road safety, blah, blah, I'm keen to link it to the Diamond study, LHI bids. We've got aeroplanes, we've got increased traffic, we've got, Google sending people this way. I think we could, I think we should make sure that they are focusing on the right sort of things, given the objectives or the principles that they set up, and drawing to their attention those issues.
This presumably is their whole budget. This is a budget for spend on everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody else have an appetite to send something of that order? Anybody else wish to suggest anything else? Because my proposal would be that we do nothing, I'm afraid. So I'll take hands first of all. Is that the proposal is that we send a letter to try and homogenise all the bits and pieces to do with air quality and noise and traffic, etc. So that's Anne's proposal. Will there be a seconder for that? Okay. Anne, Sharon, are you seconding? I think Sharon's seconding. Anybody else in favour of the approach? So that's a 2, yeah. And against? That will be me. Anybody else against? Okay, that's 2 against. And then presume the rest of you are all abstentions, are you?
Yeah.
The abstentions? Yeah, okay. So it's 2-2 and loads of abstentions. Now, how does that work?
You now have a casting vote, Graham.
Okay, so we don't do anything. Okay, so the alternative is that we do nothing. My proposal is that we do nothing. Just acknowledge to ourselves that we've had that opportunity. I mean, we can bear it in mind for next time that they do tell us what their budget is, and then we can perhaps bear it in mind for next time when we have more time. So my proposal is we do nothing. Can I have a seconder, please, for that one? Okay, Kieran, second it. All in favour? Kieran, okay, that's 3, 4. Okay, fine, that's 4. Any against? Hands against and abstentions. I'm presuming Rob, Sharon, and Peter. Did you get all those, Nicola?
I did. Yes, thank you.
That was quite a few votes in there. Fine. Okay. Thanks very much. Right. Discuss and decide upon the rural Cambridge citizen advice for a donation. Now, we don't normally give donations. Nothing in the budget for it. Anybody wish to break with tradition and give a donation? I propose that we don't send a donation. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Rob, are you seconding? Yeah, okay. All in favour of no donation? Show of hands, please. 1, 2, 3. Peter? No, you're not. Okay, so that's 7 against. Peter, are you abstaining or are you against?
I'm abstaining.
Abstaining.
Abstaining, yeah.
Okay, so that's no grant to them. Okay. Right, discuss and decide upon the request for Office National Statistics at Hilton Parish Council, effective action awareness for the census 2021. Bearing in mind this is for March, I think we could probably delay this until February, could we? Or do you want to is it a very easy one that you just want to agree to or not?
I think we should support this.
Can we just put it on the website and on Facebook?
Promote it.
That's all they're asking us to do, yes.
With links to whatever links there are.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm just concerned that maybe it's not until March, whether we're putting it a bit early, that's all.
No, there's job vacancies being advertised now.
There are.
Yeah. Well, we can't advertise those, I'm sure. But we can...
No, but they're advertising within their website for people to undertake the roles.
So the proposal is that we will put it on our Facebook and website, etc.
Yeah.
Just to notify parishioners.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, that's a proposal. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Heather seconding. All in favour? Show of hands. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. That one. Right. Discuss and decide whether to support the Slowways initiative. Now, this was something that came in from Heather to do with linking up footpaths.
Mm-hmm. So it's a national initiative, and they're asking parish councils to do 4 things: pass the formal motion to support Slowways, promote them for local residents to walk, review, and use routes, include Slowways within our planning policies and initiatives, consider where new paths might be, and encourage our representatives to sign up personally to walk and review a slowway.
Okay. Anybody having Peter?
Yeah, sorry, I've read a lot of things today because I didn't go out. I looked at Slowway's website, but I couldn't see any routes that you could actually go and walk yet. Is that right?
They haven't got that far yet.
Okay, because they mentioned that they've been doing it for so many months and they've had a few thousand people go out and do it and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But there's no hard route for any.
No, I think it's going to be published. They either said December or January, and this is just getting parish councils on board at the moment to support it.
Because it's a non-financial support, isn't it?
Yeah.
And your hands up.
I think we should just do it. It's a learning process for everybody, including the originators. But in principle, I think if we agree it's a good thing, let's agree to support it and see how we can progress.
Does anyone? I mean, I have a fear that I don't know how we can really support it other than encourage people to walk the footpaths. I kind of feel that there's not an awful lot we can do with the first 3 items, but whether we're punching above our weight, but.
I think that's what they're asking us to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Long term, it could be nice to be having a footpath going from here to Papworth, for example, alongside of the 1040. It's a sort of initiative that may help us achieve that in the long term.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there were 4 proposals at the bottom, weren't there?
I
think there's 5.
Yeah. I mean, are we just going to, is the proposal that we just take all 5, or do we actually cherry pick the ones that we can do?
We can't. We either say yes or no.
Is that right?
Well, it says by doing one or all of the following.
Yeah,
Could
I
support
Oh, I'm
slow
sorry.
ways
I'm sorry.
by doing
Yeah.
one or all
Yeah.
of the following. But I think if you're going to do one, you do all 5, don't you?
Yes, exactly.
Well, you can do one or the.
Let's just vote on doing all of them and see how we get on.
Okay. Has anyone they've all had enough of a chat? So the proposal is that we take on board the Slow Ways initiative and offer them our support, taking on board all five actions. That was actually someone else ought to propose this. Heather, you can propose it.
I'll propose it.
Your baby. Yes. Okay. Fine. A seconder for that, please. And seconding.
Yeah.
All those in favour?
Yeah.
Okay. Rob, are you in favour? Or are you? No. Okay. Abstentions. I'll stick my name on abstention. Okay. And there's 2 abstentions. Fine. Okay. So that adds up to 8, doesn't it? Brilliant. Okay. Thank you very much. So that's Slow Ways done. Right. Now, previous parish plan. Can I ask that the working group gets together and does what was requested of them 2 months ago? There's 5 of you. Laura's not here now. What you need to do is to have a meeting, decide who's the convener, and then decide whether you're going to invite any members of the public. And then hopefully you can come back to us in February with a review of the parish plan, which was suggested back in October. So that's my proposal. Can I have a second of that approach, please?
Sorry, Graham, I don't understand why you're positioning it that way.
Well, I'm a bit cross because we had a meeting back in October when the working group was going to get together and come up with a review of the parish plan. So far, that working group hasn't met, and there's no urgency. I appreciate it's difficult to get people together, but there is no urgency. So I don't understand why the 5 of you can't meet and come back with a consensus. I mean, so far we just had the 2 of you come back with a new survey, when what we want, or what the parish council proposed, was a review of the parish plan, which is slightly different. So that's
in order to review the parish plan, we throughout have said we will ask parishioners for views, and that's where we've got to with this draft questionnaire.
So we had quite a long meeting with a parishioner about that and got some information from there. And then Anne and I have had 2 meetings about it.
But you didn't involve any other working group. There's 3 people in a working group who were not invited. You cannot come back and say that what you're presenting is the result of the working group, which is what you were asked to do in October.
You say that.
I do say that.
I've never been invited to a meeting or anything like that. And I'm supposed to be on the working group.
Yeah, and Rob, I don't know what your position is, but you haven't been invited, and Laura's not invited as well. So all I'm asking is that when you come back to us in February, you've done, the working group has sat and chatted, because the thing is that we're in a meeting now. It's 10:30. We shouldn't even be meeting now. We haven't got the time to go through the survey, and it shouldn't be a survey. It should be a review of the parish plan.
So Graham, I can sense that you're very cross about this.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I would like to.
Yes, but can I just say that Anne did send an email out and she asked when people were free, and the only person who responded was myself after the first meeting. So there has been some effort to engage. I did check the email.
Let's have a bit more, well, sorry, not a bit more. We've got 2 months now till February. And if the 5 of you can get together, have a good old chat, over a glass of beer, because it's not a recorded meeting, and come back with a proposal, which is a review of the parish plan. I mean, the proposal is on the working documents or supporting documents for this year, for this meeting. It says what was asked of you, and then you can come back and present it to us, and then we can see what the next step is. I think that's what all I'm asking is. I'm asking when the parish council comes up with a motion, it's a requirement that happens, not something else, because what's being presented tonight is something different from what was asked. That's what is my problem, or the problem. So
can I just ask Graham, what do we do in a situation then when the other councillors have not engaged?
Well, I don't think it's right to decide who's at fault here, but I think after 2 months, there must have been a time when 4 people could have met out of 5.
Well, I'm sorry, but you know, I'm not saying who's at fault here, but I think your tone and your criticism is just a bit over the top for a parish council meeting. You know, we're all doing this voluntary, and
okay, well, I'll take back the tone, but the comment remains is that the working group was required to go away. Sorry, the working group was required to meet. That was 5 people, and then come back to parish council with a review of the parish plan. What we've had today is 2 people who have, I'm not saying haven't worked very hard on it, but have come back with a complete new survey, which isn't what I was expecting. And I don't think it's what the parish council were expecting when they posed that resolution or that motion back in October. So all I'm asking is that in the next few months, the 5 of you get together and come back with a review of the parish plan. Please, just please help. Peter.
Sorry, can I just interrupt there and ask that you resolve to
Oh, yes.
3X?
Yes, okay. We'll just see what else is to come up. We're going to have to do, yeah, okay.
Not many more, is there?
No,
No,
well,
you're not going to do them in 2 minutes.
Okay.
No, okay. So the proposal is that we remove item 3X where we finish 10:30. Can I have a seconder for that, please?
No,
Yeah.
I think we should close the meeting.
Okay, well, we'll have to, we can't do that because otherwise, well, sorry, Peter's proposing it.
Oh, no, I'm seconding it.
Second it, sorry. All those in favour of carrying on because the accounts need to be done. Okay, that's
Sorry,
7.
was that 7?
Yeah, and Sharon and Anne, are you against or abstaining?
I thought Sharon just voted for.
Sharon voted for.
Yeah.
Okay.
no, sorry, I didn't. No.
Oh, sorry. Okay, can we
Okay, so-
redo the vote then, please?
Yeah, okay, so all those in favour of ignoring 3X and going on until we do the accounts, show of hands, please. That's 6, okay. All those abstaining? Against? Sharon and Anne, so that's 2. Okay, so that's 6-2. Okay, so just to wrap up the item I've got at the moment, I'm going to propose that we leave the parish plan questionnaire
Okay.
or response until the working group have met. That's my proposal. Can I have a seconder for that, please?
I was going to raise a query.
Go on.
May I?
Yeah, cool. Chat.
Can I just, the parish plan has been reviewed since 2003. I'd just like you to bear that in mind, because in the
Great.
statement that's
Yeah.
made, it says the parish plan came out in 2003. There's no mention that it was reviewed. I think,
We
Anne,
know
you were
that.
involved in that review, weren't you?
Yes.
In 2015, maybe?
17, Peter.
11.
It's had 2 reviews. I think
It's
if-
had 2 reviews. We
if
know
this is
about.
coming back, then that might need to be included in there, because if people see that it was done in 2002, they might be thinking nothing's happened since, but there have been 2 reviews of it. So
We know.
include that
Yeah,
in there.
fine. Thank you.
Okay, great. That's a proposal that we shall be waiting for response from working group. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Okay, that's seconded from Peter. All in favour? Show of hands. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 in favour of that. Abstaining? Against? That'd be Sharon and Anne and Heather. Brilliant. That makes the 8. Thank you very much. That's good. Right, so moving on. This is a question about whether to include councillors' bios and photos on parish council website. And you notice there's a website page that's come up with that as an option. It is an option. We have to put in there our details, contact details. What we don't have to do is photographs and paragraph description of us. Discuss. Do we want that in, or are we? Because obviously, if we go for it,
Personal choice, the end.
but
I think as parish councillors, we ought to be visible and we ought to say something about ourselves.
I think we've either got to, it's all or nothing. I think to just have some putting their details up looks a bit strange, as you say. So I think we have to take a vote as to whether we're going to all do it or whether we're not going to do it. Are there any sort of strong objections or feelings before we take a free vote? No? Okay. So the proposal is, how's the proposal going to go? I'm getting no feedback at all as to I've got 1+.
Proposal, I think, Graham, if you don't mind me interjecting, would be that all councillors submit a short bio and photograph by the 31st of January to Nicola for
December.
inclusion on the website.
That's the
31st
recommendation.
December or January? 31st December.
31st of January. We've got Christmas coming. Ruth, you want a Christmas photo, don't you?
Okay. Okay.
What happens if you really don't want to do this? You know, if you really don't want to be self-publicising yourself.
Well,
You don't have to self-publicise though, Kieran. I was looking at another parish council website today where you could just say, Kieran Dunt became a parish councillor of Hilton Parish Council in 2013. You don't have to say you've lived in the village for X, Y, and Z. You don't have to say you've got 5 kids, 3 dogs, 2 husbands, or whatever. You can just say that you became a parish councillor in 2013.
Alternatively,
Don't we need to standardise? Just, I mean, if we want to do that, let's just do that.
If you know, I think if you look across lots of every parish council that's got a website, that's got a councillor's item, they have pictures and some sort of profile, be it a very chatty one or a very sterile one. And we've got a nice new website. We should really, I think, even though I haven't rushed to do it, we should.
no. Well, it's this business of engaging, isn't it? It's engaging.
Yeah.
We're not even supposed to talk directly anymore, are we? Parishioners.
No. Well, no, you can talk to them.
You can talk to them.
No,
No, I
You
mean,
can't promise anything on behalf of the council.
Exactly.
that's what I meant.
Take a vote on this, please, and if necessary, say limit it to 3 lines and move on.
Peter, that's your proposal.
My proposal is that councillors submit their bio and photograph to Nicola by the 31st of January 2021 for inclusion in the council section of the Hilton Parish Council website.
Okay. Who's going to second that one?
Seconded.
Yeah. All in favour of that motion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. And abstentions? 1. Yeah. And against? Rob. And okay. So that was 5, 2, 1. Brilliant. Okay, that's great. So do your best for the 31st of January. Thank you very much. Right. Okay, payments. We had no payments received, so that's a nice easy one. The next item is all to approve the payments. Anybody got any problems with all the bills that are down there? No. No. Okay, you've all seen those. There's been no change, Nicola, have there?
No,
Nothing came in line. Okay, so
no, I can't add anything in late.
Oh, good. That's great. Thank you. So I propose that those be paid. Can I have a seconder for those, please? Seconder. Oh, Rob, you were just there. Fine. All in favour? Fine. Good. Okay. Thank you very much. Good. So they're paid. That's good. That's okay. So finally, the last item, item 148. Council items. I'll go around clockwise in my view. Heather.
Just thank you for the Christmas tree. It looks absolutely great. Not the Christmas tree, the pavilion. Christmas lights.
The Christmas tree does look great. I agree.
It's getting late.
Kieran. No, Peter.
Just thank you to Heather, Anne and Kieran for the work they've put in over the last month on the petition and the letter to Mr. Bates and the other items that we've discussed in our traffic group.
Good man. Good man. Anne?
No, thank you.
Okay. Ian?
No, thank you.
Rob? Sharon?
No, thank you.
Okay, and just me, nothing at all. That's fine. Okay then. Well, I'll just wish you all a happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. And it looks like I'm going to see you in January for an EO, I suspect. Yeah, and we'll look forward to the email to send them all out to post them through various doors. So thanks very much for that.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, thanks. Then.
Bye.
Bye.